More stories. I just did a video about my very first gig, and it was pretty, pretty fear-inducing, but I got over it. And I'll tell of the next bump up a few years later, another kind of first for me, when I mentioned before I had a little wedding band of the best kids in school in my teens, and when we all went to college, we disbanded that group, and I said, I'm going to see how college goes. So I got into college at the University of Buffalo. It wasn't my first choice of school, but they offered me a nice scholarship. I got to go there for free and make a little cash to pay for gas and stuff, actually. It was kind of a sweet deal for classical violin, which is another story. But within 2 weeks, I heard the drummer from my old band. He went to a nearby college, and he goes, hey, there's this hot jazz fusion band who's looking for a bass player. And I was all about the bass, too, at that time. I was consumed by the bass. Besides just doing the violin, I hadn't figured out where the violin would fit into popular music for me. I was a classical studied person at that point. But I was all about Jaco Pastorius and learning the bass and madman on that thing. I was 19 years old at this point. And I did an audition for this band. And the band's name was Loosely Tight. It was a 7-piece band of hot-headed young guys who had all kinds of ideas, too many ideas probably, and lots of unison lines, the next part. And we have all these things were very rehearsed. We'd also have times to improvise. It was a great bump up. I did get the gig and played with them for a few years, and immediately was in recording studios and playing, 6 nights a week in clubs that, Spyro Gyra had just played, and they were famous now. We were very excited about, and our songs were being played on a local NPR station and a jazz station. It was very, for a 19-year-old, it was a great bump up. Anyways, they said yes to me being in the gig, and I learned the first batch of tunes, 5 or 6 songs, and they go, you're not ready for a whole gig, but we got this gig opening up. Why don't you come and do that gig? So I showed up to this pretty famous place in Buffalo, and it later burnt down, called the Bell Star. And I was a 19-year-old kid, not a drinker, not a partier. I'd never been to a bar except with my parents before this. And I come to this place, and we're opening up for Brian Auger, the famous organist. I was completely out of my element. I was a nerdy kid, and went and played the gig, and I guess did pretty well. And I was completely out of my element, not knowing, I was not, like I said, not a drinker in this famous bar packed with people, and I didn't know what to do with myself, so I left. I'd never even heard Brian Auger play. Everybody, oh my God, it was the greatest concert ever. And I felt so disappointed in myself. I said, why didn't I just stay? I was such a nerd. My very first kind of professional gig, I didn't even stay for the main act. It was so out of place. So again, humble beginnings. Don't be too nervous about things. Don't be too fearful of things. I would advise people to breathe and be and explore and experience things. Don't be a nerd like I was and be, kind of out of place and leave. I could have probably made good context there, good experience, and maybe learn some things. But instead, I went home because I didn't drink. Anyways, I'm still not much of a drinker. But anyways, in the Bell Star, famous place, a lot of famous people had played there, and it was a party central in Buffalo. It was down in the south towns in the ski resort area of Buffalo, and now long gone. But anyways, enjoy, be present, not like I was.